Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the T&T Podcast. As always, it's your boy Tyler Layfield, joined by my co-host Torres Finney, and we got the crew back in here: Jackson Caldwell and Kobe Reed. How y'all doing, fellas?
Good, brother. How you doing? Always a pleasure to be back.
Yes,
That's true,
sir.
man. It's always good when we get all four of us together. It's always good conversation, good banter.
Yes, it is.
It is, man. Happy to be here, man. Happy to be here once again. A quick icebreaker before we get in. Did anybody tune in yesterday to Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney fight? Anybody tune in?
I saw bits
I
and
did not.
pieces of the highlights. What was your rundown?
No, it was a very surprising fight for a lot of people to see how Ryan Garcia fought. Knocked down Devin Haney 3 times. Some speculate it could have been 5. Referee did save Haney a lot throughout that fight. But yeah, man, to see Ryan Garcia upset Devin Haney was surprising. And if anybody been keeping up on social media, throughout about that fight, Ryan Garcia was acting a little crazy, man, throughout this whole ordeal. It was funny, like he was literally on something. But man, he came in and proved everybody wrong. Now he did miss weight by 3 pounds, which is sad. You got to make weight, man. You got to be a professional. But he did still go in there and perform. But yeah, that was a fun fight last night.
Yeah, I've seen you tweet about it, and I've seen a lot of people, talk about it on social media. So it sounded like it was a big to do yesterday for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun. Yeah, I actually bought the pay per view, which is surprising.
Oh, no crack
Yeah,
streams, no mess streams involved.
no, man. We had a few people watching over here, so I went on and bought it, and yeah, it was actually a really good fight to watch. Really good fight.
All right. So, yeah, we got everybody here today. This is going to be our 2024 NFL mock draft episode. We discussed it before the show, and we set our order. It will go with Kobe, number 1. Torres will be picking number 2. I'll be picking third in the rotation, and Jackson will be picking fourth, and we will go in that rotation for the entirety of the first round of the NFL draft. If we deem that a pick is a potential trade spot in this draft, which there are quite a few in this in this draft, then we will kind of mention that, but we'll just pick it straight up with who we think will kind of be picked or things like that. We could just kind of bring up if they do trade out of this spot, wherever they go, this is what I think they're getting, that kind of thing. So I would hit the sound, but I don't want to get sued. So we're gonna kick this thing off. Go ahead, Kobe, take us away with the Chicago Bears.
Uh,
There you go.
with the number one overall pick, I do not think it is any surprise whatsoever. The Chicago Bears draft Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC. I think is the only option here. If they did something totally different and drafted somebody else, I would be absolutely shocked. Um, Not happy with how they handled the entire Justin Fields situation. I felt like this could have been a prime spot here to go and get a Marvin Harrison, go and get somebody to help out Justin Fields a little bit more because now they got Keenan Allen, they got DJ Moore. They're adding talent, and I don't know why you just do away with another former first-round quarterback that has a lot of the same talent, a lot of the same skill level as a Caleb Williams, just a little bit less refined and polished for the NFL game. I think Caleb Williams will do just fine. Very interested to see how his camp handles being drafted by the Bears, though.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson, you're a Trojan fan, right? Or you were a former Trojans fan. How would you compare Fields and Caleb Williams?
I'm still a Trojans fan. My job does not
There you
dictate
go.
what I pull for. So look, I mean, I think I wouldn't put him up there in the Andrew Luck stratosphere. I've seen some people do that. I probably wouldn't go that far with it, but like you can't pick number 1 2 straight years and not take a quarterback. Like
Yeah.
talent, like I'm kind of with Kobe in that I still believe that Justin Fields can be a good player, but like you look at a lot of his even the advanced analytics, the statistics, like he ranks in the bottom half of the NFL. Like we can debate all the reasons why, whether it's him, whether it's the Bears, but you cannot pass on another quarterback. And because last year you could have had CJ Stroud and really changed things, and you didn't. You traded out of it, and you got this pick, which is fine, but you got to take him. Like I think he can be a top 10, top 5 quarterback in this league. I think people have gotten like just so tired of talking about him that I think we're trying to poke holes in him. And I'm not sure he's a perfect prospect, but I think I think it happens all the time. We just talk about guys for so long. I think people get tired of it, and we got to start. Is he really this good? Type of conversation. But I think he's head and shoulders above any quarterback in this class.
Torres, anything you want to offer on the matter?
Yeah, going back over to what Kobe was saying about how the Bears handled the situation, they probably did not handle it correctly, but I am happy how they handled it.
I bet you
Because,
are.
I'm
Pennies
happy
on the
that
dollar,
we
my
have,
man.
yeah, I'm happy that we have Fields. I'm happy that we actually have Russell as well, and happy to see
How about I say, don't sleep on Russ now.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
not. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's going to start. He'll definitely start. It depends. Look, systems fit different people, and I think it'll give him time. I think we got a really good defense as a Steelers fan. We have actually a solid running game. We just got to be able to get these guys weapons, get our receivers the ball, and be a little bit better on the offensive line. But I like what we got done at the quarterback position, and I think we can continue to get better. But overall, just looking at this pick for Chicago Bears, I think this is a give me, and I just don't really see them making any other moves. They need a quarterback, and currently, right now, I think Caleb Williams is the number one quarterback going in the draft.
Yeah. All right, Torres. You're up, my man. Washington Commanders, you are now on the clock.
All right, baby. Here we go. So look, the Washington Commanders is another team that need a quarterback as well. All right, it just depends on which one they're going to go after. I'm going to think. I'm thinking. Who they have? Sam Howell. That's right. They have Sam Howell, and Sam Howell, got benched a little bit last year a few times, and he didn't play too well. So I'm thinking they're going to go with Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels goes number 2 overall. Jaden Daniels, really good quarterback at LSU. A lot of people think sometimes it was the system that he was in that made him be as successful as he was. But I think he'll have a really good opportunity in Washington. Washington is ideally right now, I think, is more of a team that is getting ready to be on the startup. They just got a new head coach. They got a lot of different things going for them that is going to be fresh. And I think this will be a good fresh start for them to also get another quarterback in there, something to start off their franchise with. So I like Jaden Daniels going to the Commanders with a number 2 pick.
Now, I did see something interesting. I think it was actually earlier today that somebody, and I don't know the validity of it, but that Jaden Daniels has communicated to the Commanders that something along the lines of like an Eli Manning type situation when he was drafted. Now, I don't know. Like I said, this is just something I saw while going through X. I didn't, really think much of it to see if it was actually legitimate or not. But have y'all seen anything of that sort?
Mm-mm.
I
I saw something similar with Caleb Williams in Chicago back before
That was a while back,
process.
yeah.
But
I
what
saw
were you saying, Jackson?
odds for the draft pick shift, and again, it's hard to put a lot into sports betting odds, but Jaden Daniels was like heavy favorite to be the second pick, and then all of a sudden, him and Drake May were even.
Yeah,
I think it was like yesterday or the day before. All of a sudden, so I don't know. Like it's kind of, I feel like it's been a foregone conclusion that Jaden Daniels is going to be number 2, but now I think there's maybe a little smoke there.
Well, I like Drake May over Jaden Daniels as a prospect. But the thing is about it, if you have that number 2 pick, what style of play does Sam Howell play that Drake May doesn't already do to a better level? I think Sam Howell is a good quarterback. I think he was a great quarterback coming out of North Carolina. But there's a lot of similarities between him and Drake May. But if they're already willing to bench Sam Howell, I guess because maybe he doesn't fit that sort of scheme, I don't see Drake May having much more success if Sam Howell doesn't have success in that system. Getting a guy like Jaden Daniels that is a true dual threat, he can extend plays, he can make plays with his legs. Maybe that's the style of quarterback that they're shooting for. I think it'd be a great pick either way.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting here at my next pick, and I'm loving where this is going. If I'm the Patriots, so does anybody else want to say anything else about Jaden Daniels before I move on to this one?
No, the only thing I was going to say, because I haven't heard this talked about much, does it worry y'all that we've all watched Jaden Daniels for a long time? Like he's been in college for a while.
He's an older guy. I mean that's something in this
Does it
draft.
worry you that he only had one really, really good season? Because at least I know me and Kobe's opinions. He was kind of above average, and then he's kind of burst out with just one good season. I don't know. Does it
I
worry
mean,
you?
last season was really great, but the season before was, I thought it was pretty good still. I mean, it wasn't outstanding, but it was still pretty solid.
Yeah,
I thought.
going into last year's draft, you wouldn't have taken him in the first round. There's
No,
No.
probably not. Probably not.
But it's similar to the Joe Burrow dynamic. Whenever he
That one
came
worked out
out,
good.
whenever he came out, he was the consensus number one quarterback. And I think it's worked out for Cincinnati, and I think they're just going to get better moving forward. But you look at Joe Burrow's career, I mean, he didn't start for 2-3 years at Ohio State. He had one starting year at LSU. It was kind of just the average, maybe slightly above average year. And then sure enough, he has the one breakout year where they go on to win a national championship, and he turns out to be the number one quarterback taken the very next season. So it's kind of like Tyler said, it depends on fit a lot. How does a quarterback fit that scheme? I don't think it worries me that he's only had one dominant year in college football. Yeah, I think it just worries me more about how they're going to use him.
Well, I will also say sometimes, as much as I think I actually agree with both Kobe and Jackson in that regards about Jaden Daniels' college career. I think sometimes even guys in the NFL draft are prisoners of the moment. He had moments throughout obviously last year, Heisman year, 40 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, had an incredible season. But then you also look at the year before, and he had moments that in 2022 where it was just, oh man, he looked really good. That Ole Miss game, obviously that Alabama game. There was the bowl game later that year. There were certain games that he had that were just moments that helped his career. It's like, oh man, this guy's gonna be really good. Oh man, and then people was going into the next year. LSU was one of the favorites going into the following year, and he still had a really good season. They just had no defense, but he still had a really good season. And I think sometimes people get caught in a prison of the moment. And I'm not saying that's going to be what Jaden Daniels is going to become, but he's had a really good last 2 years, enough to sway the guys that are drafting him to make him go really high. And you see this a lot between a lot of different players, man. You really do. You see it a lot, and it's surprising. And heck, for me, it's still a fan, Mitch Trubisky. I know the Bears actually drafted Mitch Trubisky, but I don't know how he went there in the first place. We had all these other guys, and yet look what he did. So it happens all the time, and I think this could be another one of those situations.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to swing it over to the New England Patriots. And like I said, I like where I'm at if I'm them. I think it's pretty clear and obvious what they're going to go with here in this draft. Just like these last two picks, this is going quarterback. They got rid of Mac Jones. Kobe, I don't know your thoughts on that. Send him down to Jacksonville to back up Trevor Lawrence. So I think it's pretty obvious they're going to fill in the QB spot, and I think it's pretty clear who they're going to go with, and that's going to be Drake May. Drake May, great prospect in my opinion. I mean, like Kobe said, Kobe, I think you said it. You might would even take Drake May over Jaden Daniels. I think you could definitely make the case for it. There's cases to be made for either one. He's a younger guy. Still put up a lot of numbers. He could still run the ball, throw the ball. Pretty solid prospect overall. I think you can't go wrong here if the New England Patriots going with Drake May.
It bothers me, not because of Drake May. I just don't see him having any more success in that same system with those same weapons than Mac Jones. I feel like Mac Jones was a good, efficient quarterback game manager coming out of Alabama. He had a Pro Bowl year whenever he got to New England, but since then, look at the weapons they have. They have Juju Smith-Schuster as their wide receiver one.
It's not great.
I just don't see how Drake May can come out and be successful.
Douglas. Come on, man.
Anyways, I don't see how Drake May can be successful unless they go and get a premier wide receiver, go get some premier weapons. I can't honestly name anybody as of right now that's a game changer in that offense. So I don't know how successful that's going to be, but it's Drake May. I'm going to give him some benefit of the doubt. I just hope they can get him a little bit more help.
Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say was Drake May is easily stepping into the worst situation among these top three.
Oh, yeah, it's not great.
I mean, Caleb Williams, if he goes to the Bears, when he goes to the Bears, he'll have Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and then you have DeAndre Swift and
pretty good offensive line for the most part. They have pieces.
Yeah, and even Jaden Daniels, if he goes number 2, you have Terry McLaurin, who's a really good wide receiver. Jahan Dotson's a pretty solid too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really love Austin Eckler's kind of over the hill at this point, but
I learned that one the hard way.
Drake May is easily in the worst situation out of all these quarterbacks. Whoever goes third, whether it's him or if the Commanders take Drake May instead, and New England takes Jaden Daniels.
Well, I was the thing I was thinking about is too is like, yeah, I know a lot of us talk about that per se system in New England, but they do have a new head coach with Gerard Mayo. We don't know what he's going to come in there with, what type of style, and you could be right. With them drafting Drake May, what are they leaning to? Are they still going to be very run heavy, play action heavy type of team, or they're going to air it out a little bit more? It's still going to be a lot of questions answered, and questions that need to be answered in the first year for Gerard Mayo. But I think Drake May is obviously another obvious one for the Patriots, unless it's switched between 2 and 3. But this is going to be actually really interesting. I am going to be intrigued to see how Drake May performs in New England. And after seeing, Mac Jones, I felt like Mac Jones was a little bit sabotaged based off what he was given. I don't think he was all that great, but I think he was also given in the best position either. So
No, definitely.
it was pros and cons on both sides. But we'll see how Drake May was able to step into this one for the New England.
Yeah. All right, Jackson. It's your time, my man. Arizona Cardinals, who you going with here?
All right, I'll start off by saying this is perfect trade-up opportunity, and I think the team everybody knows wants to trade up. That's why they got an extra first-round pick is the Vikings. It wouldn't shock me. The mock trade I've seen going around a lot from a lot of different people is the Vikings.
I've seen them trade with the Chargers at the 5th pick.
Well, that one, and I know that they're giving up like 11, 23, and a first next year, which is a lot. But, I mean, if you've got a quarterback hanging out there, which there's only one left, that's supposed
And
to go.
I don't know what y'all feel about that either. I'm not huge.
I don't like it either, but he's going to go high.
He is, but I don't know. I think it might be a mistake.
The farthest he could fall is number 6, in my opinion. Like, I don't think he'd get past the Giants. But just back to the Cardinals, excuse me. If they, we're not doing any trades here. So if they do keep this pick, I don't know how you don't pick a receiver, and I don't know how it's not Marvin Harrison Jr. Even though I keep seeing people have Malik Neighbors as the number 1 prospect in this draft. I know I think it was Dane Brugler on The Athletic was saying he talked to a lot of front office people that had him as the number 1 player in the draft. So I don't know. I don't feel that way, but I would take Marvin Harrison Jr. right here. They don't have a number 1 wide receiver. You trade Rondell Moore, Hollywood Brown, going to
What's the guy they got last year? Michael Wilson or something like that. He was okay.
Yeah, that's not a number 1 receiver. No. Their best receiving option right now is Trey McBride at tight end, who's pretty good.
He did do good. Yeah. So what was the Chargers trade that you saw, Kobe? I haven't seen that one. Chargers would literally trade up 1 pick.
I think you were saying going back.
Oh, go back. Oh, okay. I can't hear you, Kobe.
Yeah, the Chargers move back, and the Vikings get to trade up and get that 5th pick. I think Mel Kiper had that in his latest mock draft.
Shoot, yeah, it wouldn't be the worst move for the Chargers there.
I'll also just add this in here. The Cardinals could really come out of this draft. Like they kind of own the draft a little bit. I think they have like 11, 12 picks. Like they got a lot of picks that, they pick already. They had the first rounder from the Texans from last year's trade where the Texans got up to number 3 and took Will Anderson. So they have the 27th pick already. Like, to me, if the Vikings offer you that deal where you get 11, 23 in their first next year, I mean, you'd add a third round or a first round pick and you'd have 3. You probably would miss out on the Harrison Jr., Neighbors, Adunze trio there, more than likely.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you take it, if you could. They have a lot of.
I hear another guy they're trying to go after, and somebody we're going to bring up here soon, but Joe Alt, tackle.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. When you got a guy like Kyler Murray, you got to have a premier wide receiver in there. I think Marvin Harrison makes the most sense for the Cardinals at this point.
Can't go wrong with it.
Debate all you want. Stats are stats. Film are film. Measurements are measurements. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best wide receiver prospect that has come out in some time. I don't think there's not a debate in my mind. I like Neighbors a lot, but Harrison is the prototype. When you go and make a Madden created player and you're making a wide receiver, it has every intangible of Marvin Harrison Jr. So yeah, I think this is the smartest pick for the Cardinals. I would stay right here and get the arguably best player in this entire draft.
Nice. Torres, anything you want to offer there?
Not really. Yeah, I don't. I mean,
Not really.
If the Cardinals are going after a wide receiver, I mean, I feel like that's another no question. If anybody gets picked over Marvin Harrison Jr. this year,
is
That's just
stupid.
ludicrous. Yeah,
Yeah.
it won't take
That's how
sense.
I feel too. I really do. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like all
I
three of them are
mean,
really good,
let
but
me ask y'all this. Let me ask y'all this. We saw something very similar roughly 12, 13 years ago. When you have a guy like Malik Neighbors, when you have a guy like Marvin Harrison, does this not remind y'all of AJ and Julio coming out at the same time? You got
yeah,
two
yeah.
generational prospect guys, two guys that produced at the college level. And even I think AJ ended up getting picked first. Julio had the better career, but AJ went on to have 7 straight 1,000-yard seasons. I see that very similar to
Could
Marvin
be.
Harrison and Malik Neighbors this year.
I
Could
don't
be.
think you're going to be mad if you walk away with one or the other. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
preference.
Yeah.
I prefer Harrison
Just
Jr.
like route running and all
Yeah.
that, just the acumen, the pedigree that Harrison brings. Like I just feel like that's the
Yeah.
edge. You know, you
And
got to slow
and if
down.
you choose Neighbors, it's not because of anything Harrison can't do. It's just because of how good Neighbors is at everything
Mm-hmm.
else.
Correct. All right, Kobe, we're swinging it back to you with the Harbaugh-led Los Angeles Chargers.
Well, like I said, I do think this would be a good trade area for somebody like the Vikings to come in and get a quarterback. But since we're not doing trades, the Chargers right now, Justin Herbert, he needs weapons. I've always hated the narrative that Herbert didn't have weapons. You had guys like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, and
He
now
had
they are
weapons.
really gone. Go and get who I personally think I've thought this for 2 years, and I've made it very apparent. Go get the best player in this draft. Go get Brock Bowers at number 5. If you are
Ooh,
the Chargers, you have Justin Herbert. Go and get a bona fide
Yeah.
wide receiver
I like the
one
sound of
option that
that.
can play tight end. I like Brock Bowers. I've liked him ever since his freshman year. I've suffered the wrath of Brock Bowers a game or two now. At this point, I've seen him play against the best of the best. I don't think there's a better football player in this draft outside of Brock Bowers. He's literally Superman. I don't know what y'all did. I don't know who y'all had to pay, but y'all literally made this man in the lab at the University of Georgia. I think he's the best player in this draft, and I think somebody like Justin Herbert could use him very much next year.
Wow, yeah, little out of left field on that one. That one definitely, you don't see that often in these mock drafts. Them going with that, but I honestly, I can't say I would be completely shocked. Like I could see Harbaugh maybe
Mm-hmm.
doing something like that. So it definitely makes sense if they do end up keeping this. If not, and they're able to trade back and still pick up a talent like that, then that's a no brainer. Anybody got
Mm-hmm.
anything else they want to say, Jackson Torres?
Uh,
Um, Go ahead, Jackson. Go ahead.
it's not what I would do. I think you either take Neighbors or you take Joe Alt right there. Like, and again, it's kind of like what we were just talking about with Harrison Jr. and Neighbors. Like, if you take Brock Bowers, like, I'm not going to be mad. Like, you're taking a really, really good player, obviously. But your number one wide receiver right now is Josh Palmer. Like, I just feel you need to grab
Dude,
one
Yeah,
Quentin
receivers.
Johnston?
but
Come on,
what
former
I'm
first round wide
thinking,
receiver?
no. What I'm thinking when I see Brock Bowers here is who can you build around? We've seen a team that has a lot of success do this, and it is the Baltimore Ravens. For the longest time, the biggest knock on Lamar's career was he didn't have a true wide receiver one. Who is the most consistent pass catcher that he's had that's probably ranks in the top 2 at his position? Mark
Mark
Andrews.
Andrews, yeah.
So even though you don't have
It's a
a
good
true wide
case.
receiver one, you have a guy that is just like Mark Andrews. I think he has the athleticism of Mark Andrews, but he has the feel for receiving like a Travis Kelsey, but he has the physicality and the blocking of George Kittle. Everything you need in a premier tight end, that is Brock Bowers. And I can just see the Chargers and Harbaugh wanting to build around that early on.
Torres, you had anything?
I ideally would pick that as well. I would think the Chargers would go after a wide receiver. The Chargers are, for one, like you said, you got Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert did have weapons. He had Mike Williams, and again, he had Keenan Allen. He had weapons. Now them going after a tight end, would that be surprising after seeing Jim Harbaugh type offense? Depending on what type of offense he's trying to bring to the table. We've seen what he used to be in the San Francisco on the 49ers, very run heavy. He would throw the ball, but he was still very run heavy in Michigan. How is Justin Herbert going to adapt to that? Is Justin Herbert going to be under center more? Are we going to see a lot in shotgun, or what is Jim Harbaugh going to be looking for? I do expect him to go after a wide receiver, but don't be surprised to later on in the draft you start seeing the Chargers go after some running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh
I,
yeah,
I
one
think
in
I
particular.
think I think they're going to be having heavy run game from based off what we've seen so far from Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
Just one last point I want to make, just piggybacking off what Torres was just saying about Jim Harbaugh, and he's drafting now. Would it shock y'all if he picked Joe Alt right here and tried to build from the offensive line? It's Jim.
It wouldn't shock me either.
It wouldn't shock me. It'll be a meme, but it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah.
That's so Jim Harbaugh.
How bad was it? How bad would it be for Jim Harbaugh to draft J.J. McCarthy right here?
That'll be awful.
Be very stupid.
I'll say this:
Very stupid.
the Chargers are drafting Blake Corum, right?
That's what I'm saying. There's going
There's
to be a
gotta be
reunion here at
somebody,
some point. I feel like that's like a given. I mean, I know they brought in Gus. I know they brought in J.K. Dobbins here recently, but yeah,
they're not Michigan men.
No, they're not. He's gonna go.
Speaking of Blake Corum, just side note: is this the worst NFL or the worst running back draft class we've seen in a long time?
When I'm
Like,
seeing
this
the
draft
dude
class
from
is not
Louisville
good.
argued as the top running back in this draft class, just like
They're going
what?
to be running back picked in the first 2 rounds because I don't think so.
There may
I
not
don't
be.
think so
There
either.
really may not
I
be.
thought Audric Estime back in like January would be that.
Yeah.
And he was like a 4.9 in his 40s. So
Yeah,
that's
that's the Notre Dame guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh God. Yeah, it's not great, man. It's not great.
Hold up. Did what's the name come out this year? For Texas? Yeah, Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, but remember he's coming off an ACL tear too.
Yeah,
True, but
Yeah.
depends on
I mean, he will. As far as running backs goes, he's probably like he may actually. End
he's
up
not
being-
better than Corum.
You can I'm not, and I'm not here to say that. I do think that as
Yeah.
well, but I do think there's cases to be made. I feel like there's some team could talk themselves into it still, but
Yeah.
I
It
agree
would-
with you as well. I would take Corum over him.
Just my
Yeah,
last.
you're right.
It wouldn't shock me if Bucky Irving or Trey Benson was first round.
Yeah.
Like it may
Yeah,
sound like
Trey
I'm telling
You're correct.
you.
I forgot all about Trey Benson from Florida State.
Benson's solid, man. But remember, there's still some injury past with him too. So that's the catch. All right, Torres, swing us over to New York Giants, the New York Football Giants. Who are they going to take here? Pick number
All right,
6.
with the Giants, I think Giants are going to be wide receiver heavy. I saw some mock drafts where some people thought there was going to be a lot of quarterbacks going, and some people thought they'll get all the way down to Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think he'll get taken a little bit before that. I'm going to go Malik Neighbors for the Giants. I think they take a wide receiver here to help out a lot with Daniel Jones and his upcoming. He just signed a huge deal. So when you're signing a deal that big, guess what? You got to get some weapons for the brother. So I think they're going all in on Daniel Jones, as you see from his free agency signing. And I think Malik Neighbors is one of those guys that he can be able to bring in, and he's having an instant impact on the team. And I think it'd be something good for Daniel Jones to be to start making a good connection with. So I think, Malik Neighbors going to the Giants.
Any thoughts?
I think that's the obvious pick. Like, they need help at the receiver spot. Don't get me wrong. What's his name? Wandale Robinson.
Yeah.
Is that the guy from Kentucky? I like him a lot,
Okay.
but I don't think he's a wide receiver 1 yet. I think
No.
Malik Neighbors
Slot
can be.
guy.
Yeah, I think Malik Neighbors can be a true wide receiver 1. If you're the Giants, you don't have Saquon anymore. You're lacking weapons on the offensive side of the ball. I think Malik Neighbors is a clear pick.
You don't see a chance at all that McCarthy's in play here.
I think that's 100% what happens right
I
here.
think McCarthy's in play here. If it slips to this point, I really do.
I will be shocked if J.J. McCarthy falls past 6. And I know none of us here are big on him, at least as far as I know, unless Torres is.
A year ago, J.J. McCarthy wasn't even a first-round pick, much less are we talking about him in the
We
top
just said it
10.
about Jaden Daniels too, though. I mean, hey,
Jaden Daniels, more or less last year, you saw the flashes here and
you
there.
did, but I'm just saying you did just technically. We did.
The
Just
one
technically
argument
say
I'll make in favor of McCarthy is he was never asked to do much. And maybe that works in his favor is, maybe when he's asked to do more, maybe he really can show more. Look, I'm not arguing in his favor, but I'll at least say there's that potential.
My
They were up all the time. They were
only
up by a
rebuttal
ton.
is he spent a majority of his college career in a QB battle with Cade McNamara.
It's
That
true. This
same
is true.
guy still worthy of being a top 10 pick. That's my
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. All right, we're ready to move on to pick number 7.
Well, I would say something on the behalf of J.J. McCarthy. I don't think at all once he was ever going to go high. I for real think, in my opinion, he is more like a 3rd or 4th round guy. Just being honest with you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But I think, again, for instance of the moment, I don't even know about that. Like, you can go back and look at the playoff games, man. Like,
Does the hype stem from who we thought he was going to be coming out of high school? Like, I think that's the biggest hype
Mixture of
surrounding his name.
that, the leadership, playing at the big program, playing in big games, winning big
Like,
games, that kind of thing. I think it's a mixture of it all. He did what
okay,
he was
well,
supposed to do to win it all.
see, this is the problem though. Like, if we're talking about individual players, just winning the big game is not going to be enough. Like, oh, he's a winner.
And
Hey,
I agree with you.
congratulations, you're a winner. I mean, and
if
I'm not.
that was the case, Stetson Bennett would have been a top 3 pick.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I was going to sit here and say Fromm being like a first round
I
pick.
think JJ McCarthy's a lot more impressive physically than either of those guys.
Yeah, and he can run
He's
some.
at least got some tools. I'm not a fan. I can sort of see where some of it's coming from. But my last point on this is my early pick for worst roster and worst team next year is the Giants.
It's going to be pretty bad.
Terrible.
It's going to be pretty bad.
awful.
Yeah. All right, we good for number 7 to start?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I got this one. It's the Tennessee Titans. Looking at the roster, they do have some needs to address in this one. But what I'm saying, obviously they're building around Levis. They got Tony Pollard. They got Ridley now to pair up with Hopkins and Traylon Burks. To me, and they can kind of handle the defensive side of things. You can kind of piece that together, need be. But who I would go with here is building the trenches. And, we referenced him earlier, but I would go with Joe Alt, tackle from Notre Dame. I think you can't go wrong with that here, helping out that offense, helping out Will Levis. Pretty simple, straightforward, to the point. I don't even know if we have to harp on this one real long. Does anybody have anything they want to say on it, though?
No, I think that's the correct pick here. I mean, you got to start getting some stability, and I think that starts up front with the offensive line. You can have a lot of interchangeable pieces at the skill player positions in your offense, but as long as you have a stout offensive line, I think you can go places, and I think Joe Alt is the best offensive lineman in this draft, so I think it's a great pick.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I mean, to me, it's either Alt or a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Like, I know they signed Calvin.
You could say that.
Traylon Burks has kind of been a little disappointing so far. You could take it day here and be fine with it.
But if he's your third guy, it's not the end of the world.
Well, I think you'll like Traylon Burks is your third guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They've also kind of been sneaky active in free agency. Like, they signed Tony Pollard. They kind of come out of nowhere to sign Calvin Ridley. They trade for L'Jarius Sneed. Like, I don't know how good they are, but they've kind of been a little more active, I guess, than people thought.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we could swing this to the hometown Falcons. Jackson, I know you wanted this one, man. So you got your pick, man. Who you gonna go with here?
So I'm still torn on this because there's a lot of ways. I think, especially the way the board fell. If it fell exactly this way, like, I think you could get teams to call up and trade. Even if you don't, even if McCarthy's gone by now, I still think this is a
Because who do you got here? You got Odunze up. Who?
Yeah, you got Odunze. You can have
technically McCarthy's still available in this.
Yeah,
scenario.
if you wanted to take him, and because Cousins is probably a quarterback for 2 years, maybe 3 at max. So if you really wanted to do that, I wouldn't do it, but you could. Odunze, like, the Falcons still need another receiver. Like, I know they have Drake London, and they traded for Rondale Moore and Darnell Mooney, but I don't think any of us believe those are number 2 receivers. You still have your pick of the litter in terms of defensive players too, and pretty much since as long as I've been alive, they've needed pass rush help. The only good defensive end they've had is Abraham. You got
you remember the hype around Vic Beasley?
Well, I was
oh my God!
Did lead the league in sacks the year they went to the Super.
Who was the guy? They had one guy. Was he the top one in that draft, or was there another one too? I'm trying to remember.
I think it was Vic Beasley.
Leonard Williams was in that draft too, but I don't know if you count him in. Really,
Yeah.
it's kind of a mix between a tackle and an end. But I would take Dallas Turner right here. If it would either be that, trade down, or take a Dunze. I like some of the corners here. I don't know that I like any of them to take at number 8. Yeah. And I know it's kind of boring at this point to mock Dallas Turner there, but, like, he's best pass rusher in the draft. Like, you need a pass rusher. He's best pass rusher in the draft. The math is pretty simple, but you could see a trade down. And again, I don't think a Dunze is totally crazy. Even though I think you would have like a weird freak out online if they took a Dunze.
The other one was Dante Fowler. that year. That's who it was. And
Yeah,
I,
from
yeah,
he
remember,
Florida.
and he ended up the Falcons ended
Yeah.
up getting him later on. I mean,
Yeah.
I just remember he had a lot of hype around him as well.
Dan Quinn loves him. He signed him when he was on the Falcons, had him on the Cowboys, and now he's on the Commanders.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. I was like, there was one more guy that everybody talked about. The same year Bud Dupree was coming out as well. Shane Ray, out of Missouri. There was some.
What a class.
Was that 16? Was that 16?
That was 15.
No, that was earlier. Yeah, 14.
And then, they took Tack McKinley 2 years later.
That's right. In the famous draft speech. Yeah.
They took, and then, like I said, they've been trying to get a pass rusher for a long time. I'll always remember them taking Jamal Anderson over Darrell Reeves, Patrick Willis, Marshawn Lynch. Yeah, it's been a.
Yeah. I think it finally hits. And I like Turner. I think he's good.
I was about to say, the one thing I will say.
Crazy on it.
The one thing I will say about Turner, I think you're getting a guy that has a higher ceiling than Will Anderson at the NFL level. Ooh. He has a bigger frame. He is more athletic, longer reach. I think Anderson only sits at like 6'2", 6'3". Will Anderson is a full 6'4" to 6'5", longer reach. I think he's faster in the downhill stretch. He has a lot more bend to him. I think what really separates them is Anderson has a lot higher motor, and he's going to go get the quarterback with reckless abandon. But I think Turner, as an NFL edge rusher, outside linebacker, I think he has every intangible to be another Von Miller at this level.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Anything else left here, Torres? Do you have anything you want to say here?
Yeah, I mean, look, you know how I get on this show about them Falcons, man. They something else, dude. They all look. They should make this obvious pick. They do need some things on defense, on the defensive side. Them bringing in Kirk Cousins, how I felt about that. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah. But what can you say, man? Look, they got a new head coach. We'll see how he does. Falcons, it's your shot, man. A lot of Falcons fans were 50-50 on them getting Kirk Cousins, which was really interesting. Some really liked it. They like guys saying, okay, we're trying to win now. And then you got some guys that are like, well, we wanted somebody younger, a lot more athletic. Ideally, a lot of people wanted Fields, but it depends. I want to know, Jackson, what's your thought on Kirk Cousins real quick on that on the acquisition? What's your thoughts on that?
I liked it. My number one option was to trade up and get a young quarterback to have a franchise quarterback. That way you're not looking for one in a couple of years.
I'm still a fan. I would have loved Fields in Atlanta.
Okay, but here's the thing with Fields. Nobody else wanted him. Clearly, there wasn't a market for Justin Fields because I'm sorry, there's no way.
If there's a market for the Falcons to go get a washed-up Marcus Mariota, there's a market for y'all to go get Fields for nickels and dimes.
That was different. Like the Falcons they weren't wanting to. Okay, here's the thing: the Falcons front office, which is Arthur Smith's the only thing going. The front office is saying they passed on Fields the first time. They didn't want him, and I just.
Falcons passed on a lot of things the first time. Look. People felt like there was a market a little bit for Lamar Jackson. I was like, Lamar ain't leaving Baltimore. I knew. Yeah. I just
the Ravens were going to match any offer they got. That was
match any offer. Yes, but for them to say that we would even go after him, make the whole fan base mad, made all the Falcons. They was like, what? You would even consider it?
I think it was just they knew they weren't going to get him. I just think they weren't going to waste any time with it. Like there was no way it was going to happen in a million years. The Ravens were always going to match whatever offer they could. Like it wasn't like the Falcons could sign him and he was unrestricted. Like he was restricted and the Ravens could match. So yeah. But I like it overall. I think that was clearly their second best option after getting one of these top three QBs. And you're just in a draft where the top three teams, there's three really good QBs, and they all need a quarterback. Like you got to have – it takes two to tango with a trade. Nobody was going to trade down. So at that point, it was the next best option, which I thought was Kirk Cousins personally.
And it puts you in a good position to win now. Yeah. I mean, I think so at least.
I still think you need to possibly address the position for the future, but right now, the best option.
So we'll see if they do somehow. Maybe a later quarterback in this draft can maybe offer that. So we'll swing this to pick number 9. Kobe, you're back up for the Chicago Bears, so this will be your second pick for them. Who you got them going with?
So second pick for the Chicago Bears at number 9, I like them picking quarterback J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan.
Yeah, I was about to say what?
Not a chance. I think this is the prime spot for the Bears to go and get Roma Dunze.
Oh my God,
You
this would be
go
like a match made in heaven.
look. You add DJ Moore. You add Keenan
Oh
Allen. I don't
God.
think Keenan Allen and DJ. I think they're maybe there for a couple more years, but Roma Dunze is a guy you can get to build for the future. He's a guy that can grow up and level his game up with Caleb Williams throughout their career. Um, I really like that pairing because if we're being honest, I don't think Caleb Williams, if he's played with some spectacular offensive players, Roma Dunze would be the best wide receiver Caleb Williams has played with in his career up to this point. I think there's a lot that the Bears could do with Roma Dunze. I think that matching him with a guy like DJ Moore, I think that could be something really special in Chicago.
Totally agree. This is a great pick in my opinion. If it fell this way, if you're a Chicago Bears fan, I don't think you can't help but feel happy about this. Like, there's no other feeling I would have, man. This is just like perfect, perfect situation for the Chicago Bears franchise.
I mean, the only thing I would say is, one, I think this could be a good trade down spot because I'm sure y'all have seen, but the Bears only have 2 picks after this one, and it's like 75 and like 115 or something like that.
That's it.
Yeah.
So they only got 4 picks total.
Yeah, they have 4 picks total in this draft. You could, because this is a deep wide receiver class, or at least I think it is, you could trade down, try to pick up some seconds and thirds, maybe even trade down multiple times, and then, in the mid-20s or so, get an A.D. Mitchell or get a Brian Thomas or something like that. But if it does fall this way and they take a Dunze, like, is this the best situation a rookie quarterback has stepped into in a long time?
It's pretty nice.
Dunze, Allen,
nice.
DJ Moore, Komet, and then DeAndre Swift. I still think you need some work on the interior line.
It is very similar to what Justin Herbert walked in with at the Chargers. I mean, you have a Keenan Allen, a Mike Williams. It is very similar.
Now
I'd be arguing probably even better. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, you don't have injury riddled Mike Williams. You got DJ Moore, who's actually proven he can be, he can pop off at times, and he stays on the field. Then you go and you nab Roma Dunze, like, dude, this is sick.
Well, he can also be safety insurance because we all know Keenan Allen gets bumped up a little bit every year. So
he can,
and he's not young either. So you would have it.
Well, he just came off his best season. I'll give him that.
Yeah, he played a lot of games. They held him out for most, toward the end there. They were the ones holding him out. So, so that will lead us to number 10, the New York Jets. Jets, Jets. Torres, who you got?
Man, I was on the plan to picking a wide receiver for the Jets, but look, there's other guys there. But if I feel like if Neighbors, obviously Malik and Rome is gone in those first 3, I think they go out the offensive lineman. So I'm gonna go with Olu Fashanu for Penn State. I think he'll go there for the Jets. The Jets need an out tackle. They currently have no left side tackle on the roster. So I think he'll be a good addition to the team. He won Offensive Lineman of the Year, 2023. He's 6'6", 317 pounds. Had a lot of upside. A lot of people was like, oh man, this guy's coming out looking phenomenal. I think he's a really good pick for the Jets. The Jets, they just got their curse, man. You bring in Aaron Rodgers, he gets hurt literally in 3 plays. I mean, you can't do much about that. So to have him come in and be, having that offensive line to be able to keep him upright, keep him healthy, I think they got a solid wide receiver. To bring in another good wide receiver will really help. I also, since Brock Bowers already picked, I would be surprised to see them go after a tight end as well. So I think that'll be another good one. But I do like offensive lineman right here for the Jets.
That's the 2 things I've been seeing. I've seen either Brock Bowers or offensive line help. That's what I've been seeing. So obviously, I think they'd be ecstatic with Bowers, who wouldn't, like Kobe said. And then, if you could keep Rodgers upright, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, we've seen what can happen. We don't want to get him hurt anymore. I'd like to actually see a healthy season of Aaron Rodgers in New York. I really do. I want to see
and I think
be annoying, but
that starts with getting somebody to block for his blind side, and I think that's what getting an offensive lineman first in this draft can do for you. And not only that, Mekhi Becton, I mean, he's hitting free agency I think you got to lock down the offensive line. I think this is going to be the best pick for them. I would like to see them take a wide receiver, like Torres said, but at this point, I think it's too early to pick anybody outside of that top 3 echelon of receivers that are already taken.
I mean, I don't have much to add. I'll say I think because they're all in on this season, and I don't know if he's going to play another. I wouldn't be surprised if they at least toy around with the idea of trading up to get one of those 3 receivers.
They could.
I don't think you do that because you got Garrett Wilson healthy. Didn't they just get
Mike Williams, but he's coming off he's injury prone as all get out.
He is. I'm telling you, he gets hurt every freaking year. Every freaking year, man.
And it's kind of like a little bit like, the Bears taking a Dunze. It's just, some insurance in case he does, because like if Mike Williams does get hurt, like it's Garrett Wilson or bust. And I love Garrett Wilson, but it can be hard to do it just by yourself. I don't know that that's what they'll do. They'll get a receiver at some point in this draft.
Plus, you got to think, you still got Breece Hall coming back. I mean, they have talent across the board.
Yeah. But if like McCarthy was already off the board and the Chargers still want to go back, like I wouldn't be shocked if I saw the Jets move up to 5 to get Neighbors or a Dunze.
Last thing I'll say about the Jets moving forward, if they can figure it out, if they can get that one key draft piece this year, they have the defense. They have offensive weapons as everybody's healthy. The Jets could be really, really good, and that's kind of scary to think about.
They can. They really can be. All right, so this is going to be a real easy pick, y'all. I wore this. I've had this freaking shirt for God knows how long. But the Vikings right here, it's pretty easy. We've said they could trade up for this dude. He fell to him right here. J.J. McCarthy. It's an easy pick here. I know I don't believe in it. We've already talked about it. We don't really I don't think anybody in here is a huge believer in J.J. McCarthy, to say the least. But nevertheless, these NFL teams seem to be pretty high on him, and they think that he can do a good bit. Minnesota's in the market for a quarterback since I think right now, it's Sam Darnold. Should they go with it right now? It's Sam Darnold. And, as big of a believer as I was in him after that Penn State and USC game, man, hasn't quite worked out how I figured it would. I'm not going to lie. I'll eat my crow on that one. So, I think J.J. McCarthy is the pick to go with here. Does anybody object?
No, it's obvious, and I think you have to, or else if you don't go out and get a quarterback that can deliver, I think Justin Jefferson's out of there pretty quick.
Long season. Yeah, it's going to be a long season.
That would also be a good situation for a rookie quarterback. Like you have Jefferson.
Yeah.
Addison had a pretty good year. You have Hawkinson, who's one of the best tight ends in the league. Pretty decent situation.
Yeah, not a bad one at all. So, nothing too much to add to that one. So let's see. The Broncos are next. That'll be you, right, Jackson, right here at 12.
I was kind of hoping, again, I'm not a believer in McCarthy, but I was kind of hoping he's there, or it's going to just be Jarrett Stidham. I think there's a chance this could be a shock pick, and they get desperate and take Michael Penix or Bo Nix. I'll have him taking Jared Verse right here. They're like they need a pass rusher. I think if they don't go quarterback, and if I could see if Bowers somehow was around here, I could see him doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if none of those scenarios are available, quarterback or Bowers, I think you go pass rusher or a corner opposite of Patrick Surtain. I just think Jared Verse is the next best pass rusher in this draft. Him or the kid from UCLA. I just think the Broncos got a lot of needs. Like they're gonna have to get a quarterback in this draft, but I just don't think you take one right here. They don't have a pick till the 3rd round though, so keep that in mind.
They have what?
They don't have another pick till the 3rd round. They don't have a 2nd round pick. So they.
What are the odds they take a Michael Penix right here?
That's what I'm saying. Like that could
happen.
That's there because they don't have a
if
lot.
If it don't happen here, it's happening next pick. I feel like.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if that happens. I'll stay the conservative right here and go Jared Verse, and who knows? Maybe they take a Spencer Rattler or something in the 3rd round.
Could.
Yeah.
That very well could be one to go with it. Wow.
Either that or it's going to be a long season in Denver if they don't.
Yeah. I don't know. Can't argue with that one too much. He is a good player. Jared Verse, coming off the edge. So no arguments here from me. Anybody else have anything they want to say here?
I agree. I ain't got much to touch on. They haven't had a good defender coming off the edge since they drafted Bradley Chubb a couple years ago, but they really haven't had anybody in the last couple of years.
Yeah, he's with you in Miami now. All right, so we'll shoot to number 13 here. And Kobe, who are the Las Vegas Raiders going to go with?
I think you go and get your lockdown corner because that secondary has been atrocious for the last couple of years. Uh, I think they take Terrion Arnold, defensive back from the University of Alabama.
He's come a long
Uh,
way.
I think Bama has two guys in this class that are they can be cornerback one for any given team in the league. But I like Terrion Arnold here. I don't think that Kool-Aid would necessarily fit this type of scheme of defense. Terrion Arnold, I think he's a lot more versatile at the NFL level. I think he has a really good range to him, elite ball skills. He has the size. He can match up with anybody in the league. They could take a quarterback right here, but I don't. I think it's too early for that. And this is the best chance they have at getting a lockdown piece on that defense. I think they go and get Terry on him.
All right. Anybody have anything they want to say about that pick?
Kobe's pride was never going to let him take a corner from Toledo over Terry and Arnold.
Never, never.
No way he's.
I mean, honestly though, like what other corners are over Terry Arnold outside of Kool-Aid, the guy from Clemson?
Well, that Kenyon Mitchell from Toledo, he's kind of the odds-on favorite in the first corner take. I don't either.
Is
so
he though?
I've
heard a lot about Nate Wiggins, the kid from Clemson.
Yeah, I have too. I've heard that one as well.
I don't know.
I think Terry on and Kool-Aid are both taken in the first round. I think just as far as how these cornerbacks would fit, I think the Raiders would be the best for Terron Arnold.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue with that. I mean, it definitely fills a need. And like I was saying, man, he's done come a long way. It wasn't long ago that I was cracking on Terrion Arnold, and Bama
Me and you both, brother. We were in the same boat.
It was just a frustrating dude. He was just frustrating to watch.
He learned in his development within a season. It was very impressive to watch.
Yes, it was.
I will say that.
It's been a long road for him, and he's come a long way, and that's awesome for him. If he should be a first round pick. So the way he finished things out, he should be a first round pick. So let's lead this thing into the number 14 pick with the New Orleans Saints, and that'll be Torres here. Torres, who do the Saints go with?
Saints is one of those teams that obviously they need offensive line help as well. I'm actually sure they wouldn't be against trying to get a receiver, but I think they go with Washington's Troy Fatanu. He can play tackle. He can play guard. He's actually rated at one of the better offensive linemen in this draft. I've seen certain people like Mel Kiper and them have him the first lineman pick, but I think the Saints need some help on the offensive line right here, and I think they'll go with him if Olanu is already taken. But I think this is a good one for them, and I think the Saints can definitely pick up on this. There's some, from what I've read, this is a really good offensive tackle top heavy draft. There's a lot of really good guys that can go with. So if you're looking for a lineman that is a little bit versatile, I think Troy is one of those guys out of all of them that can play multiple positions. But there's a lot of really good offensive tackles in this draft. So I think this will be a good one for a lot of linemen to go early, get some money.
Yeah, you do make a good case. There are a good bit of offensive linemen that are good in this class.
You made a good argument. I think the Saints get a wide receiver right here. I think they go and get a guy like
Brian Thomas, right? Keep him in state.
Brian Thomas, A.D. Mitchell, go and get a guy at wide receiver because
I think you need to handle the QB position though before you do that.
What would it be better for a new quarterback to walk in with nothing, or for a new quarterback to walk in with a healthy Chris Olave and a healthy, say, Brian Thomas?
Yeah, you make a good case.
No.
He's just
offensive line
is just ugly. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean they got a lot to figure out, especially at the quarterback spot. Offensive line probably would be better long term, but I can just also see them going and get a receiver because Michael Thomas definitely ain't Michael Thomas no more. Chris Olave, if he can stay healthy, I mean, he's wide receiver one, but after that, you don't really have anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
Anybody else have anything they got with this one?
I mean, is there any chance they take a quarterback?
No.
I mean, you could make a case for Penix. You could make a case for Nix.
I mean, I don't think any of us love Derek Carr. So
I don't like him. I mean, I think they're frustrated with him too. I mean, he's freaking annoying. I mean,
I'm not saying that's
wide receivers are upset with him.
maybe kind of an under the radar look if they were both there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could be, you make a good case. That could be something that does get addressed. It needs to be addressed at some point. I'll tell you that much. I mean, they didn't do anything with it in free agency, so
I think they should take their time. Just keep Derek Carr as long as you want.
yeah, it's just like you need to adjust your expectations of this team if you do stick with them. I'll say that much. So yeah, any last things on pick number 14? All right, so pick number 15, that will be me, the Indianapolis Colts, getting AR-15 back. They got positional needs that I was looking at, and who I know the corner, wide receiver, running back. That I mean, maybe the backup Taylor. I know they lost their backup running back this year, but corner's a big need for them, and Jackson really just brought him up. I mean, I didn't really know much about this dude, but I know he's technically the second best. I know more about Kool-Aid than him, but technically he's rated above Kool-Aid. So I'm going to go with the Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo. That's what I'm going to go with here. Even though I don't know much about the guy, apparently people are pretty high on him, and he can come in, fill a need, help this team, make some strides moving forward. Anybody got anything on that?
I think there's better cornerback options, but I think he is good. But at least for the Colts, I would go and get a wide receiver here. I mean, go and get another guy.
Kobe, the wide receiver king.
This draft is deep, man. I feel like there could be at least 5 or 6 guys going the first round. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Wide receiver's nice here.
But you got a bunch of draft picks. You're trying to support a bunch of young quarterbacks. What better than to go and get a guy like Keon Coleman for AR-15 to come back to,
I mean, right now, who do they technically have? I know they got Michael Pittman. Josh Downs ain't bad. I mean, yeah, there is room for a third wide receiver that would be nice. Alec Pierce isn't that great, so yeah, I get what you're saying.
Whereas Keon Coleman, that's a game changer.
Could be. I see what you're saying though. I'm gonna go with corner here though. That's what I was gonna go with. So, anybody else? Torres Jackson.
I mean, I was just gonna say this is the absolute floor for Bowers. I don't think he falls this far, but if he were, there's no way they'd put up on him.
Oh, yeah, they would scoop him up in a heartbeat. All right, so that'll give us Jackson here with the Seattle Seahawks at 16.
All right, I just want y'all to connect a few dots here. The Seahawks are in Seattle, obviously. They have a new offensive coordinator, who's Kobe. He was a long time Alabama offensive coordinator.
Had a good tenure.
Real good.
The quarterback he's coached for the past couple of years, who set records, happens to be sitting right here.
Wow.
Michael Penix wouldn't have to move very far.
Wow.
Maybe he doesn't start this year, but Geno Smith kind of fell back to being what we've known him to be for a while. So if Geno doesn't get it together, I think you can connect a few dots. I think they take Penix here if he's here. If the Broncos and Raiders don't pull the trigger, I do think that this is where he goes. I do think that you can connect the dots here. Like he's playing with Ryan Grubb, the offensive coordinator. He's played with Grubb for a while, familiar with the system. And again, this is a pretty good situation. Look, DK Metcalf's one of the best receivers in the NFL. Tyler Lockett's still pretty strong. Also, Jackson Smith and Jigba, yeah. And then you got Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet at running back. So
not a bad deal at all.
I wouldn't take Penix this high. There's just a lot of injury concerns, and he is an older prospect, so to speak. But look, I think this is a talented team that needs a quarterback, and I just think they could wait till the second round to try to get him, but I think there's too many dots to connect here.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with it. I like the pairing. So
yeah, I think the Seahawks have one of the best situations a young quarterback could walk into. Whenever you got guys like Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, Enigma, you got Kenneth Walker. You got a bunch of weapons that you could really prosper at in Seattle. Again, like Jackson said, you go and get the Washington offensive coordinator, go get a guy that Michael Penix is familiar with. And even though Michael Penix is an older prospect, they squeezed every last ounce of potential out of Geno Smith. Geno Smith had his best years of his career in Seattle up to this point. I feel like you could get a guy like Michael Penix and make him have a successful, if not good, above average career.
All right, Jackson. Joshua Dennis works over at Howard Middle School with me. He says he wants Michael Penix in Atlanta. They went to his pro day. Any chance that Atlanta takes a shot on Michael Penix in this draft?
Never say never, because I know they sent everybody out there to look at him. I just think it's one of those, if he's there in the second round, I just don't think they're going to take him at 8. And I'm not going to say it's completely impossible. Like, if they just think maybe Denver or Vegas is going to take him at 12 or 13, or he doesn't fall, and who knows, maybe if he keeps falling, maybe you see the Falcons, who have a couple of extra third rounders this year because of the Calvin Ridley deal, they could move back up to the bottom of the first round or the top of the second and just go ahead and grab him. I just don't think it happens at 8. I would be pretty surprised at that.
Yeah. All right, so fellas, we are halfway through the first round. We're here at the hour mark, so we're going to do this. We're going to go through this, pick them. Each person gets one sentence they can say, so we can get through this a little quicker. All right, that's all you could say, unless there's extenuating circumstances where you feel like you have to add more. So, with that being said, Kobe, Jacksonville Jaguars at 17. Who they taking? You're muted.
Jacksonville Jaguars go get cornerback Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. I think he's a long-rangey guy. He can match up well with a guy like Tyson Campbell on that defense. If the Jaguars make certain moves, they can have a lot of success.
I would have went with a wide receiver. I'm just saying.
I'm
just saying because you've been saying that. Anything?
They could, honestly. I think you go and buff up that defense a little bit, especially playing in the AFC. You got to get guys that can fly around in the back end. I think this is the perfect time to get a DB.
All right, so let's see here. We're going to number 18, Torres, the Bengals. Who are we going with here?
For the Bengals, I'm going with Amarius Mims from Georgia. I think
good
the Bengals
pick.
Get a offensive lineman because they need their quarterback upright. Joe Burrow has dealt with injuries. Let's be honest, when he hasn't had to deal with injuries, he's been going pretty far in the playoffs. And if they can't keep him upright, he's going to be in trouble. And right now, as most people think, this is the only team that might be the one to stave off the Kansas City Chiefs. So if that's the case, they got to have somebody that can keep Joe Burrow upright to get him to that game. And I think they need more help on offensive line.
I like J.C. Latham, but Amarius Mims is almost as good.
Mims, I'll just throw this out there. Mims, I don't know. He didn't go out the best way at Georgia. There's some stuff there with that. I don't know, the mental stuff there. He's definitely built for it though. Latham, I would like probably a little bit more than him. I'm not gonna lie on that. That's coming from a dog fan. All right, 19, Los Angeles Rams. I look at this team. I think they need some defensive line help, obviously, because your best freaking defensive line of all time, he's gone just about. I mean, you can make the case for the best defensive lineman of all time with him, especially. But
you can make the case best defensive player of all time.
All time, yeah. So it's going to be hard shoes to fill, obviously. But, there's some people here in this draft that are pretty good, and I'm deciding to go with the defensive lineman Byron Murphy II from Texas. I think he's pretty solid. I think he's a pretty good prospect to plug in there in the middle. Help at least try to fill that void of Aaron Donald and help this team to hopefully continue to make some waves, make some moves, to stay relevant and get some victories. Anybody got anything here?
I know this week, I think it was Daniel that said he's the name to watch that will surprise you in the top 10. He didn't know if he'd go in the top 10. He said there's a lot of teams that really, really like him.
I can believe it. So let's see here. That'll lead us to Jackson with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Torres, you got to.
I was going to offer to trade the pick to Torres.
Oh,
I want to pick for his Steelers.
How sweet of you, Jackson.
I was about to say I was getting the Steelers hometown rob. I was having the Eagles next. So
you want to trade? So Jackson will pick Eagles. You pick Steelers. You fine with that?
Yeah, I can do that. Yes. So like I was saying earlier today, look, I am really happy on what the Steelers have done on the offensive side. I think there's some things that we can definitely do at the DB position. Don't really know too many other DBs, to be honest with you, in this draft. I know we talked about Arnold, but man, the one that I've seen some people talk about was Nate Wiggins from Clemson.
Yeah,
I think that is somebody that the Steelers go after. at the DB position. Currently, we are. I think we're pretty solid at the quarterback. We can definitely use at least one more. I like what we got. I love what we got. They're young. I love what we got, but I would love to see maybe one or maybe a solid tight end. But overall, yes, at DP position, I think just help beef up our defense. Our defense is already elite. We have a really elite defense. We just have to put them in better situations. And when your offense can't score and when your defense is on the field more times than your offense throughout the whole season, yeah, it's going to make some of your numbers look bad. And we still was a top 10 defense. So I still like to see what the Steelers are able to do on that end.
So Nate Wiggins officially, correct?
Yes.
All right. That's one, and my one little take I'll bring up here. If Kobe didn't take Cooper DeJean, I think he would be a great fit in Pittsburgh. I really do. I think that would be like a
him or
sick.
Kool-Aid, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Kool-Aid's the other guy I was going to mention. Torres. He's one that's still available. That's a DB. So that'll lead us to Kobe picking his squad. His Tua turned the ball over Dolphins.
Don't disrespect my man's like this. Don't do that.
I have to throw my slights in, man. Go ahead.
Nah, for the Dolphins, I think your biggest question is your offensive line. They dealt with a lot of injuries last year. I think it looks like they're pretty confident in moving forward with Tua in the future. You still got Tyreek Hill for at least one more year, more than likely more, I would think. And then, of course, you got a premier star in Jalen Waddle. They could use a wide receiver. I think this would be a good spot to get somebody like an Xavier Worthy, somebody that could help beef up that passing offense, which Mike McDaniel's is doing a great job with. But I think you got to go and get an offensive line that can protect Tua and also help out in the run game. So I'm going with Troy Fatanu, interior offensive lineman from the University of Washington. Now we saw
so he was picked earlier.
Oh, was he? I thought y'all
14.
got the Olu guy.
He was picked at 14. Who picked for the Saints? Was it Torres?
I did.
Yeah. So he got him there.
Okay. Well, my offensive lineman is gone, so go ahead and give me Xavier Worthy, wide receiver from Texas. Go and get a guy that I think could complement Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. If one of those guys were to go down, you have speed right there to replace it. What better mix than Mike McDaniel's to have another speedy wide receiver that you can use?
It would be a crazy fit. Speed kills, and they would have a ton of it. Jackson Torres, anything there?
I think that's
All
good.
right. All right, Jackson, hit us with the Eagles.
I mean, this might surprise y'all a little bit, but they need a center. There's a first-round type center in this draft. Graham Barton from Duke I think he's going to be a really good player. I know the center's not a sexy pick. It's nothing like that, but how do the Eagles win line of scrimmage? One of the best centers of all time, or at least in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Retiring with Jason Kelsey. They could go at any position on the offensive line. I also think they could go corner here possibly. But give me Graham Barton. He's really, really good.
All right. Yeah. No arguments here from me. Anybody else?
I mean, I like it a lot. I think they could have gotten a tackle because they still have Landon Dickerson that I think they've kind of been molding into being the center for whenever Jason Kelsey leaves. But if you want to keep Dickerson at that guard spot that he's been playing for the last couple of years, I think it'd be good to go ahead and get a center.
Well, Barton did play guard. He played guard and center at Duke, so like you could go either or there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see here. I have the Vikings pick, and we obviously don't think that the Vikings are going to hold this pick. We think they're going to probably trade it. And if they were to hold this pick and this player fell to them, I think they'd snap it up in a heartbeat. That's J.C. Latham. He talked about it. Go get your quarterback and McCarthy. Go get your next bookend tackle and Latham. I think that should the draft fall this way, which it will not. There is a high probability it will not happen this way. But should it fall down like this, I think the Vikings come away very happy. Just with these two players alone. So and they only build up on top of that. So that's what I'm going with here.
I like it a lot. I mean, buff up that offensive line. You're going to have a new quarterback. You're going to have a new face throwing the ball. You still want to make sure that they have time to get the ball to Justin Jefferson. I think getting a guy like J.C. Latham, a guy that started all 3 years he was in college, that's a lot of experience. I think he's the prototypical tackle that the team like the Vikings could utilize.
Yeah. Torres, Jackson, anything there?
No, I mean They could go defense here, I guess, but it's a good.
Yeah. All right. So let's see, Jackson. Dallas Cowboys. Go ahead and hit us with it.
The
God.
Cowboys. Oh, boy.
How about them Cowboys?
That's right.
I think the funniest pick would be Bo Nix. It's not going to happen, but
my
Oh,
God.
God.
that would seem
It would be
like
pretty funny. It would be pretty
That would
funny.
be so Cowboys, too. Oh, my gosh.
Dak Prescott final year. So, man, this give me Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. He's again. This is a really good.
Dang it.
This is a really good tackle class. Tyron Smith's gone. He's plug and play guy. Really, really solid tackle.
Yeah.
It's a good pick.
I like it.
Yeah.
He stole it from me. That was going to
Yeah.
be my next pick
That
for
was
the
going to be
Packers.
for the Packers.
Yeah.
Darn it. So who you going to go with now?
The Packers, I think they could use some help at the offensive line spot. However, go and get a guy that it seems like there's a little pipeline between Green Bay and Athens, Georgia, at the safety spot. Give me Javon Bullard. I think you go and pair him with a guy like Stokes. You still got Jair Alexander back there. I think the Packers, as long as they keep success on the defense, especially in the back end of that defense, I think they could have a lot of success with Jordan Love in the next couple of years.
Now I would be ecstatic to see this, but I haven't seen him really mentioned. Going like a first round. I know second, third round's definitely in the mix. I know Tyke Smith as well, but that would be freaking sick if it happened. I'll tell you that much. I would love it.
Yeah. I mean, you already got Quay Walker, you already got Stokes. You go and get another Georgia guy that has produced at the highest level. I think that could be a good deal for them.
Yeah. Anything from you too?
That is surprising. I think he would be more of a second round pick, but hey, wouldn't be against it. Green Bay need help.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, just bring us back one point. Like the Cowboys got to draft a running back in this draft, right? Like I know we're all down on this.
Yeah, can't do it yet.
I love Deuce Vaughn, but like there's no way that's
that's not gonna last long.
But I don't think there's any running backs worthy of being a first round pick, which is crazy to think.
Just resign it.
No, I don't think so at all. So yeah. Let's see here. So Torres, you're up at 26, Tampa Bay. Who are they going?
For Tampa Bay, I'm going to go with they need a DB. They definitely been struggling at the defensive back position. Had a lot of problem in the past. I'm going to get Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama. I think they go and grab him. Kool-Aid in Tampa Bay will be a really good move for them. Help them on the back end, and I think Tampa Bay can definitely try to make some runs. Again this year. And I think that division is still pretty weak, but it's growing. But I think Tampa Bay can still make some runs.
Yeah, that's a good pick. He was in the running for my pick after this. So we've been talking about him. He's been referenced multiple times. Good athlete, great player. Should have a good career. All right, so Arizona Cardinals is who I've got. I got them at 27 here. DB was what I was looking at. Torres snagged that one. So I'm going to look at wide receiver, and he's fallen this far. So I feel like it's a no-brainer. I mean, shoot, you already got Marvin Harrison. Why don't you go get wait, he hasn't been taken, has he? Brian Thomas?
No.
Yeah, Brian Thomas. Why don't you go get Brian Thomas to pair up with him? I mean, why don't we just go ahead and build something here and give Kyler all the help he needs right there. So I won't go with Brian Thomas here.
I like it a lot. I mean, again, Marvin Harrison, he's going to be the premier guy, but why not go get a wide receiver 1A or wide receiver 1B? Go get another guy that Kyler Murray can use. You're giving them a good quarterback. I like it a lot, to be honest with you.
Thank you. All right, so Jackson, Buffalo Bills, they're in an interesting position here, man, and they've lost a lot this offseason.
Yeah.
How are they going to fill these needs?
Well, I was going to have him fill it with Brian Thomas, but he's gone now.
Sorry.
So I'm going to take the best wide receiver from the University of Texas in this draft, and that's A.D. Mitchell. I think he slides in and fills that role perfectly. It has to be a receiver here. Like, there's no way, because Gabe Davis is gone.
Who are they rocking with now? I mean, I know they got Dalton Kincaid coming back at tight end.
Khalil Shakir,
Curtis Samuel
out of Boise State. Yeah.
Samuel did all right last year. I mean,
but he can't be your best receiver.
He can't be your number one. No, he can't be.
Their best receiving option are their tight ends right now.
Yeah.
Probably. I think they're also a trade candidate to move up. I don't even know if it's we're talking top 10. That would obviously cost a lot. I don't think we've seen that for a wide receiver since the Falcons did it for Julio. and that obviously worked out. But
Yeah.
if they wanted to give up a large package of picks to do that, but I don't know that Brian Thomas is going to make it to 27. So I could see them moving into the top 15 to 20 spots to try to get in position for a receiver. But
Yeah.
if the board falls this way, I think you'd be pretty happy with AD Mitchell.
Yeah, I've seen Ladd McConkey also brought up as a potential,
That'd be
spot
good.
for Buffalo. So wide receivers definitely has to be on their mind. Anybody else have anything they have to say here?
I like it a lot. I mean, you lose a guy like Stephon Diggs. I'm very curious to see where they move forward. I think you got to get a wide receiver in this class.
He tested well. He shined bright in the biggest moments. I can't really be mad at him. I know there's like some behind the scenes things people want to bring up, but I mean, shoot, I don't think you can go wrong with it. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Kobe, the Detroit Lions, your Jahmyr Gibbs led Detroit Lions. Who they gonna go with, man?
I think this Detroit team, I think they need a little bit more help on their defense side of the ball. However, I'm going to go get a guy that you can match on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. Give me Darius Robinson, outside linebacker defensive end from Missouri. I think that you go and get a guy that you can pair on the opposite end of Aiden Hutchinson. You're containing the quarterback. You got guys that can fly around, but also you're helping the secondary by giving them a little bit more time to read and react to the wide receivers. I think this Lions team moving forward, I think they're moving in the right direction. Go and get a guy that can be a terror on that defense. And I think the Lions, they're going to be in a lot more conference championships from this point forward.
Nice. Let's see. Anybody else got anything they want to bring up for that one? No. All right. So let's see here. The Baltimore Ravens. So Torres, Baltimore Ravens. Who are they gonna go with?
Ravens, man, it look like they've definitely helped themselves out throughout this year of free agency, trying to get themselves to be a better team. Number one seed last year. Once again, look like I've just been on the offensive line train this whole
I know,
draft.
right?
So I'm gonna go with Tyler Gutton from Oklahoma.
He already got picked.
He already got picked.
Oh, what team? Dang it.
He
Jackson
got picked.
got him for the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
yeah.
I'm going down to the next best one. Kingsley Sumatu, offensive tackle from BYU.
Of course you
I mean, he's a left tackle. I think the Ravens need somebody that can continue to really help them to stay upright. I mean, with them bringing in Derrick Henry to continue to boost up that offensive line is going to be huge. I think the Ravens, a lot more people think they need help at more the wide receiver end, but because of the offense they run, not many top tier wide receivers are going to want to go there. But obviously in the draft, it's not going to be up to many people choices. But Ravens need to continue to strengthen up their strengths, and that's the run game and offensive line. So might as well keep making it stronger.
I like it. I also think they could have, if somebody falls, I know we've kind of taken all the top tier guys, but if somebody could fall, I think they could use a cornerback pick right there. I think they need some guys in that defense. They've lost a lot. They're bringing back a lot of talent, but I think getting a guy in the secondary at that pick would be good for the Ravens.
Nice. All right, so I'm looking at my next pick. That's the San Francisco 49ers. They've been on a great run, been making all these postseason pushes as of late, and just looking what they need here. I know defensive backs one thing. I'm not really. I mean, y'all kind of taken all the defensive backs that I really like here. Offensive linemen, we've been on a huge roll here, but there's one guy that's kind of sticking out for that. There's two people in my mind here. I'm looking at let's see, Jackson. Let's see, he's from the Oregon Ducks. Jackson Powers Johnson, the center from Oregon. I think they could use him because right now, how it's projected, Jake Brendel will be their center. Don't know too much about him. They do have a pretty good offensive line overall. And then the other one would be Ladd McConkey. And I was just trying to be thinking because just in case of a Brandon Ayuk departure scenario, because it feels like the Buffalo Bills, we talked about them going and getting a wide receiver in the first round, but they're also, a prime trade destination for like a Brandon Ayuk or something like that. That's been a person that's been brought up a lot. So I guess what I'll do is I'll go buy some insurance in case Ayuk has done deleted all of his 49er stuff, all of his social medias. He's acting like he's going to go. I'm going to go with my hometown guy. I'm going to go with Ladd McConkey here.
I like it, honestly.
Yeah. Pair him up with Purdy. Debo, Kittle, all them. Maybe it helps them out. So that's the two I was down to. Keep them away from the Chiefs getting them too. So
You stole my pick.
yeah, there you go. Hey, there you go. Sorry. Even though that would be sick too. I would love to see McConkey with Mahomes. That would be awesome. But who are you gonna go with now with the Chiefs? Now that I've taken.
Well, I gotta dig down the board a little bit. We know that this is a good wide receiver draft class, and so to me, it's down to two guys. I'm gonna take Keon Coleman right here.
Good pick.
I think we're doing the thing that some people do every draft season is guy's really good on tape, shows really freakish ability. He goes and does like a bad drill at the combine, and we have to nitpick that constantly because anytime I see people talk about Keon Coleman, he run a 4.6, but then he had like the fastest shuttle or something, when working out, catching passes and stuff. Go back and watch that LSU game when he's 100% healthy. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Go watch the LSU.
Yep. His speed has never been a question on the field, like ever.
And I just don't even have the energy to debate that with anybody that thinks otherwise, honestly. Like, to me, either him or Xavier Leggett from South Carolina would be a good pick right here. I think
I'd say Troy Franklin from Oregon would be
I
a
like
solid
Franklin.
pick. Yeah.
But it's like what we're saying. Like, this wide receiver class is deep. There are going to be some good guys taken in the second round that you're going to be pleased with.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right.
Is the wide receiver position a need for the Chiefs this year, you think?
Yes.
Did they lose anybody?
What's going on with the Rashee Rice deal?
That's what I was going to say. You could have some legal trouble there. I don't want to speak too much on that, but like you could have something there. And then outside of that, like that position was bad.
No more Valdez Scantling. I mean, they still got Justin Watson, Sky Moore. I mean, Watson will do some stuff here and there, but he's not anybody you can rely on. They did get Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. He's awesome. Tony sucks now. Justin Ross, there's that
Miko caught the game-winning touchdown,
Miko, but is he on the roster still?
You're sitting
he literally just got picked up not too long ago, so he wasn't doing too much throughout the season.
Listen, all these guys on the Chiefs, and you're answering your own questions. Like, yes, it's a need.
Yeah, they need to get a guy.
The Chiefs were literally they were running on fumes, and they still went on the road every game and found a way to
can't bet against the best quarterback, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy. Literally running on fumes. They had nobody. They led the league, and it was just awful. And I kept saying here on this show, I was like, man, if there's a team you don't want to bet against, man, he has that aura about himself, and I was like, you couldn't do it. You can't do it. So I would love to see the three-peat personally.
Oh, I would too.
I mean, shoot, it could very well.
If he gets the three-peat, there's a legit case he could be number one. I really
First one in NFL history. First one in NFL history. So
somebody that had a hefty sum on a Baltimore Ravens future, I'm still kind of salty about that.
Listen, Jackson has been betting on Lamar Jackson for I don't know how long.
Almost paid off.
Jackson
ran the ball.
Pretty good there.
I made a bet with one of the guys that used to play for the Ravens. He's now on the Dolphins. We both went to UTC together, and we made a bet. And he was like, man, the Ravens, they're so good. They got the best overall team. And we bet each other $500. I said, all right, $500 that the Ravens won't make the Super Bowl. He was so adamant. And I'll never forget the Chiefs that played the Ravens that week. The Chiefs played. I said, bro, they ain't beating the Chiefs, man. He's like, oh, no. And look, I ain't gonna lie. I was a little worried. I was like, that Ravens team does look lethal. But, boy, when the game first started and how they were playing, and I was like, Lamar's throwing the ball. Chief ought to win this game because you ain't been throwing the ball all year long. Threw the ball 36 times, most all season.
Chief threw the ball at home, bro. Like they could have just ran the ball.
This in the entire NFL, and Baltimore is one of the most run-heavy teams in the NFL, and I can't explain that. Like, and I love Todd Monken. He in big games
scripted.
He choked that one. Caller. I don't know what all that was because think about after those first two drives the Chiefs scored, their offense did zero. Like
they didn't do nothing after that. You're right. The defense held them in. That's why I was surprised on why you're throwing a ball this whole game when you have literally the top rushing.
Throw it into triple cover.
It's the same reason the 49ers lost the Super Bowl. McCaffrey did not get the ball the second half the way he should have. I mean, that's the thing about the Chiefs. You're not going to outthrow the Chiefs.
It's worse for the Niners too because Lamar is like so much better than Brock Purdy. So it's worse that you were trying to win that game with Brock Purdy and not handing it to Christian McCaffrey. Then we got the NFL MVP. Like It's not defensible, but it's more defensible than that.
Yeah. See, some people they talk about like you have to take more. Some people believe you have to take more chances when you're playing those type of players on the other side of the field, like a Mahomes or
Stick to what you're good at, man.
You have to stick to what you're good at. Stick to what got you there, man. Like if you beat me at my best, then so be it. Don't beat me trying to do something. I don't get it. I feel like these guys get paid too much money to overthink it. Maybe I don't understand it because I didn't understand with the 49ers. You had Christian McCaffrey ran all over them that first half. He only got the ball 3 times in the third and fourth quarter combined. What are we doing?
At least we know Kyle Shanahan doesn't make questionable offensive decisions in the second half of the season.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Who would have thought?
Oh, man. Crazy.
All right. Well, that is the mock draft, our first round 2024 mock draft. Any last thing you fellas want to talk about here before we break this thing down?
Dolphins 2024-2025 Super Bowl champs, claiming it now.
We'll see.
I was going to say with the Falcons, I just can't say it with my chest like that. I've been I hope so at some point, but I'm not going to torture myself either.
No, don't do
I will say that miraculously,
Pittsburgh.
Mike Tomlin will find a way to have another winning season, and I just hate that the fact that our standard now is just having a winning season, which I could care less. But having a winning.
Is Russell Wilson starting in a playoff game in a Steelers jersey this year?
He could.
That's a really good question because I feel like halfway through the year we're gonna make a switch. I do think he played. This is how I feel like it happens. First 2 to 3 games might go 2-1, might look solid. Then we go on a slope, and then Mike Tomlin like, oh man, I'm at risk of having a losing season. Then we put in Fields, and then we rack off 6 straight, and then we go 9-8, and then we make it to the first round of the playoffs and lose to the 2 seed. Just like it happens almost every year. It wouldn't surprise me. This is nothing new.
But I like that
you
you actually have some veteran leadership. You have a veteran Hall of Fame quarterback. You haven't had that since Ben left. So I like that you get that out of Wilson this year.
I have a good feeling about him. I think he'll do good and actually get him.
And you got a guy that was very similar in his younger career to Justin Fields. I mean, I think Justin Fields is going to learn a lot. So I think it's a win-win regardless.
They're both playing really hard, obviously for that position, but we're in a really hard division, with the Bengals coming back, the Ravens and the Browns are literally, the Browns look really good.
The Browns are solid, man.
So
I just want the Steelers to be watchable. I'm not a fan either way, but y'all are on national TV a lot. Just please.
We do. That's why I enjoy that too.
I hated watching Steelers games this past 2 years. It's just not.
Oh man.
Man, this is good though. I enjoyed getting everybody together again, doing a mock draft. These are always fun. So we got the draft this Thursday. So I mean, I'm excited, man. It's always a fun time for me. I stay up, check that out, just get all into it. So I'm excited. We got NBA playoffs upon us. No Hawks, unfortunately, for Jackson.
Dallas Mavericks underdogs. Love it.
Dallas Mavericks
underdogs.
The
Mavericks, they look too good today. Them boys played, man. Them boys played hard and looked really good.
Without Kawhi, too.
Talk about it all y'all want to. Y'all know Nuggets Celtics is inevitable.
I feel I'm the on the same train, man. After watching those Nuggets last night, I sat there and was like,
Lakers,
and they all healthy. Oh man,
the Lakers were good, but we've seen this movie a million times already. Nothing's changed between these teams in any game.
No.
What do you think is going to be any different?
No, freaking Jokic just makes it look too
does this
easy, bro.
diminish Anthony Davis's legacy a little bit that he's not the best big in the league? It's obviously Jokic.
He hasn't been the best big in the league.
I don't think
2020. After that time.
I mean, there was always the question, and when he's healthy and actually playing, I mean, he was up there
defensively. Yeah, I mean,
he's not better than Jokic or Embiid.
Yeah,
Embiid when he's
that's
healthy.
fair.
Yeah, so that's the thing with him. But man, this was fun. We'll have to do it another time too, man. So thank you guys for joining us today, Jackson and Kobe. Torres, awesome show again. Anybody out there listening, thank you for tuning into the stream. If you're out there listening on podcast, continue to support us that way. Subscribe and follow us on the our different platforms. I got it on the bottom of the screen here if you're watching the live stream. Jackson, Kobe, any anything you guys want to push here? Any goal line stand podcast coming out here this year?
Hopefully in the summer we'll get it kicked back
Hopefully
up,
in the summer we get it. Hey, that I tell you, man,
especially after
teacher to
after
teacher.
this
That summer schedule's nice, brother. That summer
hey,
schedule.
after this playoff or after this transfer portal that Alabama's about to run through, we're gonna have to get it back started. I can't wait.
What you talking about there? Tell me that real quick.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
No, you can't do
Just
that.
know
You can't
Bama
do
is
that.
still the standard. That's all I'm gonna say. That's it.
Who y'all adding?
Don't worry about it.
Oh my
We got some help
God.
on the way.
Okay.
Might be a little premier cornerback coming from a reigning
Michigan.
national champ. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I've
saying?
heard
You
that.
never
I've heard
you
that.
never know. You never
I've
know.
heard that. I've heard that one. So okay, Will Johnson. Yeah. All right. Ain't that his name, Will Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've heard that one then. Well, but again, thank you guys out there for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for all the support. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Boom, boom.